Hey, everybody, it's Andrew, and welcome to episode 99 of the Jaguar podcast. In this episode, I'm going to be doing a discussion of some of the position grades that I've made for the Jacksonville Jaguars. So before we start, though, quick kudos to all of our healthcare workers, doctors, nurses, police officers, firefighters, servicemen and women. Thank you so much for your service and keeping us safe through this coronavirus crisis. Really appreciate it. All right, so let's jump into it. Some of my grades for the Jacksonville Jaguars positions. Let's start off with quarterback. I gave the position a B-. I think Gardner Minshew had a great rookie season.
Just heart and balls, man, heart and balls.
Still has a lot to prove for the Jags. Needs to work on ball security. He did, get sacked a couple times and fumble the ball. Some of that's due to the offensive line as well. We need to make some improvements there, but I think Gardner Minshew has a lot of potential, and I'm really excited to see what he will bring for the 2020 season. We did have some draft picks. We drafted Jake Luton, quarterback from Oklahoma State. I think he has a lot of potential as well. I think he'll probably be a backup, and he'll probably just learn the offense and learn, just how to play in the NFL in general. But I think he's got a lot of potential. The Jags signed veteran, Mike Glennon. I don't know. I don't even know if he's going to make the team, honestly. I don't think he's, much to write home about. We got him from Oakland. I wasn't impressed. I think it's maybe a battle between, Josh Dobbs and Mike Glennon, or, for that third spot. So we'll see what happens. But yeah, the Jags, I think have done pretty decent, considering the Nick Foles fiasco. Minshew has stepped in and done pretty well. So I give the position a B-. We go to running back. I gave the running back position an A. Leonard Fournette has proven that he is that versatile back. He can catch passes. He could run the ball really well. And I think he's just done a great job. He's gotten a lot of hate from Jags fans. I don't know why. I just don't understand it. It's kind of crazy, honestly. He did very, very well considering what he had to work with. I mean, he was in John DeFilippo's offensive scheme, and everybody knows John DeFilippo doesn't really like to run the ball. So, DeFilippo had him lining up in the slot, catching passes. I mean, the guy had over 1,000 yards rushing and 522, I believe it was 522 yards receiving, with a really bad offensive line, and just in a bad scheme in general. So I think he's done great. He'll continue to be, a powerful player for the Jaguars. He played 15 games last season, so proved that he's more durable. I just think if he stays healthy, he's really a weapon for Jacksonville, and I think he's done a great job. We also have a lot of great depth at the running back position. We have Chris Thompson that we picked up in the offseason and free agency. He's a receiver's back. He's a weapon. Kind of reminds me of TJ Yeldon, but he's going to be another weapon for Gardner Minshew. And we have backup running backs as well. We have Rock Armstead, and then we have Devin Ezigbo as well. So yeah, pretty strong at the running back position. So gave it an A. All right, we go to wide receiver. I gave this position a B. I think we're okay at wide receiver. I mean, we have DJ Chark, and he's been phenomenal as a number one go-to guy. We have Chris Conley as well, and Dede Westbrook that add depth to the wide receiving core, as well. We drafted Laviska Shenault, from Colorado, and then we drafted Colin Johnson, and then we have Keelan Cole as well. But I think Shenault and Johnson are really going to be players to look out for. Colin Johnson has great size. I mean, he's huge. I think his real problem is staying healthy. So, he's had some injuries. But, I think, wide receiver position is a B at the best. But, Yeah, not too bad there. Tight end, I gave a B minus. I think the big question for the tight end position will be durability. Can our tight end stay healthy? We have Tyler Eifert, who's had some injury, problems. We picked him up from Cincinnati, but he's a weapon. And then we have James O'Shaughnessy. He got hurt with a, I believe he was an ACL injury. But he would have had, I believe, a breakout season if he had stayed healthy. He's just a great talent. And then we have Josh Oliver, who we drafted. So I think it'll be between those three guys. But durability is just the big question, and that's why I gave it a B minus. All right. So we go to the defensive side. We go to offensive line, and I gave that position a C. The offensive line has just not been very good for Jacksonville. Really, at the left tackle position, it's just been, Cam Robinson just did not play as well this season. He's had some injury trouble. I believe he missed the first game of the 2019 season with some knee problems. Really, the strongest points of our offensive line are probably Brandon Lindner at center, Jawan Taylor at right tackle, and then Cam Robinson's at left tackle. The interior's just been terrible. Andrew Norwell, he just did not play well last season. I don't know why we still have him on the team. We should have traded him out of there. AJ Cann, he's not been very good either. I think, we got Ben Bartch in the draft. There's some rumor that he's going to be moved down to guard. That could work. I mean, I think it'd be a nice place for him to get some experience. I don't know if left tackles are the tackle position is really suited for him, because he used to be a tight end and he was converted to tackle, at St. John's. So we'll see what happens there, but I give the offensive line a C. I think we could have done much better in the draft. I've said in my previous episodes that we should have gone with Mekhi Becton at left tackle, but that's water under the bridge at this point. So, the offensive line gets a C. All right, now we finally get over to the defensive side of the ball. The secondary, I gave a B minus. We did, draft some nice corners and safeties in this draft. C.J. Henderson, Josiah Scott, and then I believe we got Andrew Thomas from Auburn, Daniel Thomas from Auburn. The corners I think really got a bump up there with C.J. Henderson. Trey Herndon, he's played decently last season, so. I think Josiah Scott is really going to be someone to look out for. This guy just looks like he has a lot of potential, plays hard. I loved, watching some of his highlight reel. He's got a lot of potential, and I think he's got a lot to prove at the corner spot. So then we go to the safeties position. Ronnie Harrison and Jared Wilson were pretty strong there, but we did pick up, Daniel Thomas from Auburn. I think he could be a breakout player. He has some really nice hits. Reminds me of Donovan Darius. Really brings the wood, and I think he could be a breakout player. All right. Then we go to the defensive line, which I gave a B minus. Definitely made some improvements in this draft. We picked up, I believe it was Devon Hamilton at the defensive tackle spot, which really hasn't been a strong point for Jacksonville, last season. I think with the departure of Marcel Darius, we had a lot, a big void to fill. Taven Bryan, hadn't played, historically very well either. He had an okay season, but I think he's really going to be playing for his job. Avery Jones has been pretty reliable, but we did pick up some players in free agency. We got Al Woods, Rodney Gunter, which I think will add some nice depth at the defensive tackle position. So yeah, Devon Hamilton too from Ohio State. So it'll be interesting to see what happens, kind of where Taven Bryan kind of falls into the mix, and Dontavius Russell as well, who really didn't get too much playing time last season. And then we go to the defensive end position. Josh Allen, he's really been the shining star on this defensive line. Caleb Von Chasen, we drafted him from LSU. All eyes will be on him because he's kind of filling the void that was left by Calais Campbell when he was traded to the Ravens. So, they'll be, Devon Smoot will be, likely stepping up this year. He played very well last season at 6 sacks. So it's a contract year for him, and I really see him stepping up and having more of an impact for the edge rush as well. All right. So we go next to, I believe it's our linebacking core. Yep, our linebacking core. I gave that position a B+ grade. A lot of upgrades at that position. We got Joe Schobert from the Cleveland Browns. This guy really flies around. He's making plays. Reminds me of Paul Posluszny and Telvin Smith. And I think will really help us at the middle linebacker position. And I think now we're going to be able to move, Miles Jack over to weak side linebacker, which is really his spot. And we also really upgraded in the draft. We got Shaquille Quarterman from Miami. This guy is just really fast. He flies to the ball. Really good tackler, and I think is going to add a lot of depth for this Jacksonville Jaguars linebacking core. I also think we're strong on the outside with Quincy Williams and Leon Jacobs. Quincy Williams has a lot of potential. He's just flying around. He's a great athlete. Made some really nice tackles in the second Tennessee game last season. Leon Jacobs, too, great tackler. So a lot of potential there as well, and a lot of good depth on the outside. All right, so then we finish up with special teams, which I gave an A. And I think that's pretty obvious. I mean, Josh Lambo has just been incredible as our place kicker. Not much more to say than that. I mean, he's just helped us win a lot of games. He's been very consistent. Logan Cook, our punter, has been, very good as well. Very consistent. And then I think, with some of our free agency additions of like Terry Godwin, who I'll think will probably be a good, kickoff return guy. I think we're pretty solid on special teams. So gave it an A. Let me know how you feel about my grades. Leave me a comment on the YouTube video or podcast episode. If you enjoyed this video, give it a like, subscribe to the channel. This is a podcast, so come by Apple Podcast, leave me a review on Apple Podcast. It always helps me when I put together these episodes. Subscribe to the channel again. Stay away from the coronavirus. Stay safe. Go Jags, and I'll see you next time.